going through like you know the way that you have your FP set up, like your footprint chart. You have
Footprint
like
chart, yeah,
another
yeah.
chart at the bottom. Could you just go through how you set that up, please?
Yeah, of course, bro.
Um,
Let me share my screen and then I can go over that. So I'm
I'm not sure what
guessing
that line chart of. It's a bar chart. I forgot what it was.
you don't mean this because that's just a normal footprint chart. Are you talking about this one
Yeah,
here?
that's a normal. But you have like another chart at the bottom sometimes.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that's my
Is that the
main
RSI?
setup. No, so that one is here. One sec. Um,
I'm not sure if you covered it in your like in any of the videos or not.
yeah, we have. So this is going to be in advanced. So the top one is footprint charts. This
Okay,
one
yeah.
is the TPO, the market profile. That's one of the
Okay.
last sessions in advanced. But this is time price opportunity. That's your footprint charts, and then this is
No,
just
but
your
even
normal
within
chart.
the footprint chart, like you'd have the footprint chart and then you'd have another chart below it. No? Or am I
Um,
bugging?
I think you're bugging, bro. I can't lie.
Okay.
With my footprint charts, I normally have this and this.
Okay, I thought you had
So
another RSI chart, maybe. I'm not too sure. Maybe I'm
hang on,
tripping.
you might be talking about the only other chart I've got is gonna be these.
Yeah. So what's that thing at the bottom?
So both of these are RSIs. That's your normal RSI,
Oh,
and this is just
okay,
like
cool.
this is because I'm a big physics nerd. This is like a more mathematically sound RSI, basically. I saw someone on YouTube make it, and then I was like, oh shit, I need
So is that
access
like
to
an
that.
indicator that
Yeah,
you
so
just
both,
apply?
yeah, this is I don't even think this one is, I don't know if this is still on the actual indicator page, but they're literally the same thing. It's going to show you the same thing
Okay.
as the RSI, but this just
Hmm.
shows you like overbought and oversold relative to the actual mathematical, I forgot how the guy explained it, but relative to the mathematical like volume coming in basically,
Yeah.
which is more accurate than just your normal thresholds. Because for your overbought, that's what it is. It's normalized. This is normalized RSI. That's the word I was thinking of. Yeah. Because
Okay, cool,
for
cool,
every
cool.
single asset, there's going to be different volumes, like different amount of trades taking place. So it doesn't make sense to compare everything with one universal scale. So this sort of like normalizes it according to whatever asset you're looking at, and then shows you the RSI for that. Doesn't make a big difference in terms of the data it shows, but I just like that got that extra bit of accuracy built in, basically.
Okay, cool. Makes sense. And in terms of your actual FP, the
Mhm.
only difference is you just have your like if you go to your settings, you just have it displayed differently, right? You got a table
Yeah,
instead of
so
the
for the footprint charts, instead of the actual profile here, I've got everything like so I can see the volume, the delta, the
what setting
CVD,
is
and
that?
the POC.
Like if
If
I
you
want to apply it.
if you want to apply this, right click on this, go to settings, and then over here, there's gonna be a table here. Show summary info instead of info box, click on table.
Okay. Fine. And then the rest is the same. Like
Yeah, so if I
you've
go back to the
not
info
sure.
box, you'll see it will pop up like back over here basically if I can zoom in far enough.
Oh, and the reason why you do that is because you don't want to zoom in.
Exactly, yeah, that's it, right? So I'd
Ah,
rather just have everything in a nice table for me to look at. So that I can see
okay.
straight away when
Makes sense.
something's happening. Yeah.
All right. So just that thing. Everything else is the same.
Everything else is the same. Yeah. Same as
All
what
right.
we do in
Cool.
advanced. Yeah. Like the
Yeah.
imbalances, the stacked imbalances, everything.
All right. Cool. Appreciate the explanation.
No problem at all, bro. No problem at all. Nice. Happy to hear that, Rudy. Okay. So I think might as well while I'm here, go over some charts, real quick. Don't have to take up much time, but so the first one I want to go over, let's just do crypto for now because I think that rotation is the green July, hopefully, is upon us. I do hope for one more flush, but I don't know if we get it at this stage. We've been flushing since the start of this year. Okay,
Yeah.
Bitcoin first. If we take a look,
Are
this was
you
the
gonna
area.
record this as well, by the way?
Yeah, it's on recording, bro. So I've already
That's
started
fine.
the recording. Yeah. So when I send the charts, Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol with 3%, and then Grass. Bitcoin, everything was complete in 886s, right? We were over here. But more than that, not just the fact that there were these like lower time frame 886s being completed. It's not even this one. We already know there's a bigger 886, but even within that, we had another M shape right over here, right? We were getting those Gartley completions, the 786, the 886s. So we have M-shaped completions. We had bullish divergence pairing up with the M-shape. If you take a look, lower low in price, high low in RSI, right? Obviously, this is the tick-based chart, but principle applies. Lower low in price, high low in RSI. So weakening, we had weakening selling momentum, add key support. But the main thing, the most important thing about this chart is the fact that we hit this PRZ, right? We were waiting for this for months because we front ran it over here as well, because that actually didn't hit the 2.24. And then now we've got bullish divergence building straight into our predetermined PRZ, right? Below that 786, we were saying this is the next area between the 2.24 and the deep Carly 886, which is why when we hit that price with another completed M shape, I was saying this is not this place to be scared to execute, right? If you're going to execute, you would do so over here. And we're very, very nicely from there. I do think we get that 786. Do we get it straight? I don't know. But I do hope we get it. Do we like go and reclaim it? That's the question, right? Or do we put in another lower high? Do we get one more range flush? We'll have to see, because at the end of the day, now, as long as we keep making lower highs here, if we revisit this area and we breach it, then we have now another PRZ to worry about, right? And that would be this crab slash 54,000 basically. The completion point for this would be where is it? Like 54, whatever, right? That one. There we go. 54. Let's just say 54k for now, right? Whatever that 1.618 is, between that and 52 would be your next PRC, right? This yellow line being the new one, because obviously that is a fresh M shape. There's no guarantees this is going to hit, because 618, remember, when you get that, you're looking for that 786, 886, right? We've hit that 786, 886. Yes, we rated it, but we rated it with bullish divergence. If we come back and we hold it, we reclaim it, so on and so forth, we are looking for higher. You won't automatically be gunning for 52k. But should we go and lose this zone here? That's the important one. Between 58,974 and 57,757. That's always been in the line in the sand, right? If we go and lose that, then the next target would be for me 54k to 52,399, right? Those would be the two levels I'll be looking at as your next PRZ zone. If that is lost, I'm afraid there's not much stopping in the way. There's not much stopping you from pretty much hitting this, in my opinion, like low 40s. So, if you're an extreme bear right now, but you don't want to get super, super bearish, then you would hope that price doesn't breach 52,399, right? You would hope we don't go and spend any elongated time below this levels, any rates immediately reclaim, so on and so forth. Because if that's lost, it's a big drop straight down to 43s. That's lost, then we're talking 30s. Then the next targets will be 20s, right? But it's beautiful to see, because again, these levels, we've been looking at this for how long now? Absolutely ages, right? Originally when the 786 completed, then we were saying, okay, these are all the M shapes, and we simply wait for price to go to these PRZs and give us the signs that is going either in the bulls or the bears case. In this scenario here, this was obviously going in the bulls case. Like I said, we had lower low in price, high low in RSI, we had bullish divergence, we had M-shaped completions, right? And the most important thing, you had a very, very easy invalidation, which is the whole reason I marked these zones out for you guys. What was the invalidation? Simple. If 57,757 is lost, you do not hold on to any longs you're taking until this zone is either reclaimed or you go back down towards 52 to 54, right? Simple as that. So you execute at, these, and I know it's hard, right? Because obviously it's easy for me to be like, guys, these are the areas, look for strength, buy strength to go there and you execute. And, once you have experience, obviously like executing just becomes second nature. You don't really think it, you just trust the system and you go in. But for most people, even people within this group, many people aren't at that stage yet, right? I completely understand that. But, at some point you're going to have to, like, whatever tactic you use, you're going to have to come up with a tactic that's going to enable you to not be scared and just pull the trigger with some with a predefined loss. Because stop loss here was super, super simple, right? You've got, let's say, 1.68%, and you just calculate, okay, how much am I okay losing, right? This is a simple stuff. You don't have to blindside it. Just calculate how much am I okay losing, and think of a dollar value. Okay, don't think about it in terms of percentages. Think of an actual solid dollar value, because when you're trading, when you take actual hits, right, at the end of the day, you're taking it in dollars. So you can think about things in terms of percentages to get into the groove of things, to get into the swing of things, right, to execute mechanically. But at the end of the day, you have to be comfortable with the dollar value behind your trade. So you think of a dollar value. How much am I okay losing? Should I get stopped out, right? Once you think of that number, you just do a simple reverse calculation to figure out, okay, relative to that loss I'm willing to take, what is the position size I then need, that such that if I enter here, right, should this 1.68% move go against me, by the time my stop hits, that number I thought of that I'm okay to lose, that is the exact value I lose, right? That's how you calculate your position size, and that is how you enter a trade and not have to worry about it, because you come to terms with the fact there's a certain predefined loss, and either you take that loss, right, because the trade goes against you, or you go and you hit some targets and you make profit on your trade, right? You just do that day in and day out at areas that matter, not in the middle of nowhere like we are now. You wouldn't go and start taking random trades here, right? This is a shit area to long, in my opinion, for a scalp trader anyway, right? For a swing trader, it's still not hard to manage, like for a spot bag or whatever, but for like a leverage trader, for a scalp day trader, terrible area to long right now. But yeah, that area was there. We looked at those months and months ahead of time, right? Every single one of these levels was shared months and months ahead of time. Once we go there, you just wait to see, do we see strength? And you see that strength come in. You have everything we prepared months and months for. You've had months to mentally prepare yourself for, okay, this is a potential area for us to take that trade. If you then don't take that trade, especially when I gave the ping, I can't help you past that point, right? My job, I'm doing more than what I'm should even be doing, to be honest, right? Because it's not everyone here now has the ability to go and find all of these levels, but I'm still finding them levels out for you. I'm sharing it, right? I'm telling you what kind of trigger to look for. I'm pinging when we get to the area saying, don't be scared to bid. So if even after all that, if people can't pull the trigger, then that is out of my hands, right? Because I'm not I'm not your portfolio manager, right? I'm not going to buy and sell for you. That's something you have to do personally. But nice move nonetheless off that area we've been looking at for a very, very long time. And now let's just see, right? Do we keep going to the 786? Do we, come down, pull like a high low in, reclaim the 786.86 of this deep Garley area, right? If we do, that'd be another nice re-entry in my opinion, as long as it holds. Because if that's lost, like I said, we have 52 to 54 to worry about, right? And this is far cry from our actual quote unquote bottom, right? I wouldn't go around calling like a bear market bottom or anything right now. But once once we do get more structure, once we get some sort of better trend shifts, so on and so forth, then we will have more of an idea on, okay, is this like a forever bottom? Is the next, cycle gonna kick off from here, right? But we don't know. We don't know any of that. It could, for all we know, this could be the bottom, right? Because no two Bitcoin, bear markets are the same. No two Bitcoin bull markets are the same. Who knows? Maybe this is the first bear market where we don't get that 78.6% retrace. If that's the case, the 618's been tapped, right? This is the 618. The 618's been tapped. If I take a look here, if I just show you, look, it's been a perfect tap to the 618, like literally wick perfect. 57.768 has been tapped, right? And of course, we had the 6-month, buyer zone rate to reclaim on the lower time frame. Literally, they gave it straight away. They were not waiting around, right? It happened when I was asleep, in fact, when, July ticked over. But, this might be the first cycle where we don't get that 786, right? We don't know what's going to happen. All we can do is figure out areas of interest like this and then pull the trigger. And the next thing you know, for all you know, if this does end up being the bottom, you then have taken a scalp to swing trade, right? Or bought some spot. And you can then size up when the trend shifts without any worry because you have some positions from here. So if you size up on a high low, your average is still going to be in the green. You can put your stop loss to break even straight away. Your life becomes so much easier down the road because you did the hard stuff here. But majority of the people are not interested. Most people are not interested here because price keeps going down. The timeline is bearish. No one's screaming bullish anymore. That you're not getting 10% candles every day. Most people lose attention here. They don't want to be here. They've already lost money, right? On the way down. So it's a ghost town, right? But this is the area that I always say, this is the area where you pay attention and you get rewarded for it. Because now this, for all you know, this trade could end up being the bottom, right? You have all of a sudden a long from the bottom you can size up on, and you're well on your way towards like 80, 90, 100, 120, and before you know it could kick off the next bull run, right? We don't know that. All we can do is enter, manage our risk, right? TP, manage our risk. Like if a high low comes in, throw some size back in, and then we just read the data that is. But the probability of if there is going to be a quote unquote bottom is going to be at areas like this, not when everyone else is, like when everyone else comes back to the market, it's going to be very late to trying to get like a good entry, right? Very, very good entry. So Bitcoin, very, very nice move, right? Let's see how this plays out. Same with Ethereum, right? The exact same thing with Ethereum. We had the M-shaped completion at very, very key areas, right? There we go. We went and we closed back above the 6-month, right? We went and we got then above we had the 6-month close, obviously, the 6-month buy zone. We got above it, right? There you go. We reclaimed that ABCD 2.24, right? And again, that's just giving us a really, really nice move up. And again, most people will look to long at areas like this, but this is not the area to long. Look where you are, straight back into resistance. Old buyer zone turned seller zone currently, right? We haven't even flipped this back into support yet. For all we know, we could either chop some, right? If you flip, you might be able to catch a nice scalp off it. But we haven't got that flip yet. So any longs here are at the risk of just getting stopped out, right? You could revisit the 2.24, the mid, retest it, and then go up. Or, who knows, maybe the bottom isn't in yet. You want to test the 2.618. Maybe we do just keep grinding down. But whatever happens, this is not a good area to long. If anything, you could hedge a short here very easily, but it's not an area to long, right? And you got to wait for some more things to happen. I got to wait for a flip, right? Because look, support, support, support. You're below all that for now. That is not bullish. Not until this reclaims and reconfirms back a support. Then you have the bullish thesis again. But for now, this is not bullish. You've simply had a reaction from a low, from a key level, from an M-shaped completion, right? Back into an area that used to be support and is currently resistance. There is nothing bullish about that. You got to flip it back into support. It's not happened yet, right? But Ethereum, otherwise, nice move, right? Solana, now this outperformed. This had the craziest move. This had an insane move. But once again, what did that move come from the middle of nowhere? Absolutely not, right? Again, what did we have for Solana? Exact same thing as Bitcoin, exact same thing as Ethereum. You had the 786 completion first, gave you nice reaction. Then you flushed back to the PRZ with lower low in price. It was a high low in RSI. So once again, you have bullish divs, right? You have bullish divs happening. And then those bullish divs at M-shaped completion is what sent you higher. You've been bull flagging up since, right? Now, again, is it a good time to long? Hell no. Look where we are. We literally hit. This harmonic is fully complete, right? There's your T1. There's your T2. There is your extension, a 1.618 extension, right? This harmonic target played out perfectly and is literally complete. Now, where are you? Well, if you take a look, high to low, mid is here. You're above that, fine. But look, old range, right? Low to high. Mid is there. You're below that range mid, and you're also below the 1.618. You're threatening, right? You are threatening to put in inverted smiley faces here. And if it plays out, once again, you could flush all the way back down to, your range mid would be the first target. If that is lost, then this area right over here, the mid of that would be your next target. If that is lost, all the way back down to your T2 and your T1. This could literally be the next lower high in the making that sends us to our macro target. Now, what's our macro target? That's right, this ABCD 1.272, right? This could be the lower high that literally sends us to $53. We don't know, right? All I know is that the moment to pull the trigger was again when that warning was given. This is not an area where you look to go long. Again, if anything, you've got an argument to try and hedge a short, right? Obviously, based on risk management, right? Because maybe you get a slightly green candle back towards to really complete that inverted smiley up over here. But if anything, until you flip this now, you have a very good reason to look for hedge shorts. You don't have any good reasons currently to, scalp long. And the thing is, yes, you're above this range mid, but you're below this range mid. Like, there is no clear direction as long as you're sandwiched between this zone, right? That much is extremely evident to see. So there just isn't literally there is no read here that tells you, yep, you need to go long or you need to go short. If you go very close to this, you have a reason to go short, right? If you go very close to the mid, you have a reason to scalp along, tie RS. But right where you are in the middle of this zone, you have nothing going for you. Absolutely, this is nada. You don't do anything here. Apart from if you're in this long and haven't taken profits, you would take some profits. That's all you do, right? Again, Solana, extremely beautiful move, right? And again, that's the reason why I gave that heads up in crypto chat. I pinged everyone saying, look, don't be scared to pull the triggers here, right? Because these are the moments. We've seen it time and time and time again, where you're at these macro lows, right? And, you're getting these M-shaped completions within local trend. And those are just, we've been proven, right? Majority of the time that those are the moments where you pull the trigger, whether it's for the longs with M-shaped completions or shorts with W-shaped completions, right? There is 3 for 3 here. Bitcoin, Solana, and ETH, all M-shaped completions, all played out. Solana played out the most. That's just it. It hit the 1.618. The others haven't done that yet. But again, you just wouldn't enter a trade here now, right? But yeah, I'm happy we caught the move at least. I know everyone would have taken the trade. I'm fully aware, but for those that did, I'm happy they got in. Does this mean you missed the bottom? No, nothing like that, right? Like I said, there's no confirmations yet of any sort of bottom coming in. There's not enough structure to indicate, looking at this, that, oh yeah, where are the lows, right? The macro bottom is in. There's nothing yet indicating that, right? Trend is still to the downside. So, we have more time to enter macro trades, but you can't keep fading structures like this because eventually you'll fade the structure that does give you a bottom, right? And once a bottom comes in, right? If let's say we do get a cumulative structure and everything and you still fade, you're still scared to pull the trigger because let's be honest, if you're scared to pull the trigger now, that's not going to change magically, right? One thing that I've noticed people do a lot is they'll miss a trade. They'll be like, oh yeah, it's all right, I'll catch the next one. I could have done this. I could have done that. It's easy to say that. But until you fundamentally look at yourself and you figure out, why was I too scared to pull the trigger at this area? Or why didn't I pull the trigger at this area? If you can't have a good reason, you need to think, figure it out, right? Because people think that magically, just because, okay, I missed this one trade, so I'm definitely going to get the next one. People think they're going to do it. You're not, right? Because you're the same psychological barriers are going to be in place. The same reason why I couldn't pull the trigger down at the 886 is going to be in place the next time we're at an 886. That's not going to magically fix itself. So that's something you're going to have to figure out for yourself, right? And I implore you do that, right? Have some, self-reflection, because I would hate for anyone to have some sort of macro smiley face at some of these macro structures we're looking at. Let's say SOL does go to 53, right? And we start getting smiley faces and massive monthly seller absorptions coming in and bullish divergence coming in on the weekly and the monthly and all this, and you still haven't fixed that little rut going on with you, which disables you from pulling the trigger when it matters. And the next thing you know, you will at one point miss the bottom if you haven't fixed whatever's holding you back from pulling the triggers at these extremes, right? 99% of trading is waiting. Right, you guys know this. You guys have seen it personally from my style, right? I'm very aggressive, like 10% of the time, 90% of the time, I'm not doing anything, right? But in the moment to really execute and show, the world what you're made of is going to be at that 10%. And if you're not at your best and you don't know yourself, and you haven't got your psychology, your psyche on point, when you're in that midst of that 10% moment, you're going to miss it. And, that would be that 10% moment where you would execute, even though everything in your body emotionally is telling you, no, this doesn't look good, I'm scared. You execute at these moments because you understand mathematically you're not going to get a better entry, right? In terms of risk to reward. So you've got to get that figured out before, you miss an actual bottom and you have to see another 4 years out because, you're trying to buy Solana up at 140 or whatever, right? And they chop you to all hell before it goes higher. So a little bit of a rant there, but, I feel like it needs to be said because, it's the fact everything's been laid out, right? The key levels, the entry triggers. You guys know how to trade. You guys have the core, the advanced, right? Everyone's been through it. And even with all that and the key levels being shown to you and me going live, explaining what you're looking for, and also pinging when we're at that level, saying, don't be scared to buy here. Like, if people are still not pulling the trigger, then it's what it is. At some point, it becomes a waste of time, right? Because what's the point in you stressing out and doing all of this, right? And, paying to learn and all of this. And if you're not going to then execute following the system when it's time to do so, right? Because then there's no return on your investment at that point, right? So, obviously, I know trading isn't for everybody, but if you want to make it with this, you have to figure out these, you have to iron out these creases, right? That's something to be said. But the next one I want to look at, Tau. I still want Tau to give us that deeper pullback. And I'm really hoping we do get that deeper pullback on Tau. What pullback am I referring to? I'm referring to this scenario where obviously we've got that M-shaped completion, right? We had the butterfly. Again, Tau's another example, right? We caught a banger of a trade here. What was it? It was a 786 of a Gartley and a 1.44 of a butterfly. M-shaped completion at key levels. And again, hardly anyone took this. But we were planning this trade for so long, right? And it gave us such a beautiful move up. And obviously everyone's scrambling for entries up here, but this is why I told you, don't have an entry here, because what I'm hoping for is literally a full flush, and we got that full flush now, right? But I still, again, here's inverted smiley potential right below this. I still hope for that deep Gartley 886. I would love, absolutely love for this to come down, stop out the original people, right? And I still have a position size riding on this. It would stop me out of break even. I do not care, because I'm looking for a better entry at the key inflection area mid, at the deep Gartley 886 1.618 area. If we got that and we got this, it'd be so nice, because then give it us, right? Send it to like T1, T2, maybe with this. It'd be like literally 2-3 weeks, like just a month of just straight up only that takes us all the way up back to 400s or something maybe. And then if you still believe in an October low, then dump us into August, September-ish, or maybe late August, September through to October, dump us back down towards somewhere up here. Who knows? Maybe that becomes the bottom. If not, towards 90, so on and so forth. This is just me showing potential ideas, right? But what I do know is, if I get swept here, I'm adding. But if we keep trying, the buys keep defending this area, it doesn't have to hit this exact area, right? But this is your type 2 return for that M shape, and I really hope we get that Deep Golly 886 following this type 2 return. I really hope. Render, I wouldn't do anything with Render right now, but these are coins I'm interested in, right? Obviously, Render, either you have this PRZ1 here or PRZ2 here. As long as you're below PRZ1, I'm not interested, right? I want to see structure above that. AKT, not interested currently, right? I've already got a position in this from the super lows when I first mentioned this, right? When the trend shift happened and everything was looking fire here. But right now we've hit supply, we're distributing locally speaking, right? So, we might just go and hit that sort of shark, right? This area here. The shark 886 is here, so this would be a first PRZ. 1, if that's lost, 2, right? Good Lord knows where they give it to us, but, one of those 2 areas is where I'll actually pay attention to see what this asset does for a fresh entry. Otherwise, again, like I said, most of trading is waiting, right? And over here, in the middle of nowhere, I'm just not interested. Gram, we now have the full rebrand of this is Telcoin. I want this in my port, and this. If anyone's looking for altcoins, I could recommend Gram. I think this would do really well next cycle. Add the 886 still, right? We see there's no accumulative structure or anything yet. No structure to be absolutely bullish on. But we've add that to composite 2025 12-month point of control. Right, the same thing we've been looking at. We kept holding it, which is the reason that this has given us such a nice bounce. Just give me a moment. Yeah, this one, right? Is below this you can see we chop. Above this we get just expansive moves to the upside. I really don't know why TradingView lags out on my computer. I'm sorry, on my laptop. It's insane. But the reason I'm not interested in TON for fresh entries right now is very, very simple. You can just take a look at this, right? Here is HPR1 or HPR0, whatever you want to call it. Here's your next historical price range, right? That box above. You can see what we're doing is we're literally at the precipice. You could say we're at the key inflection area. We're at the boundary between those 2 historical price ranges, right? You have to be above that high. There has to be support for you to explore this above range. If you get back above this, look, that's the reason we popped all the way to this high here, right? We literally had, the front run of T1 lined up with this historical range high. So as long as you're below this, this is the range you're exploring. If you get above, then I'll take a fresh trade to the mid, the high, so on and so forth, right? Simple. That is literally the first thing we learn in core. Everyone should be very, very comfortable with that. Let's keep going. Aave had a beautiful move. We had a nice look at this on stream. Yeah, we were saying, look, it doesn't get more low risk than that on Aave, right? Yeli's got rated and reclaimed. So Aave, beautiful move. Zcash, if we take a look at Zcash, probably bounced off a yearly mid. Yeah, there we go. The tools are there for you guys, right? Look, raid all the way down, M-shape completion, plus 2 yearly levels, bounce all the way up, distributed around 2025 high, reconfirm 2021 high as support, and then move back up where to your next yearly level. Like, it's insane. And now you wouldn't enter here because same thesis. Look, this is an inverted smiley in the making. You have a very, very easy, if you wanted to hedge a short, Zcash, you can very easily hedge a short here. Your invalidation is clear. If you get above that left shoulder high, you get the hell out of the short, right? If you want to play it wider, you would do it above this high, but I wouldn't recommend it. Just keep it tight. Get in the habit of keeping things tight unless you're actually going straight for a swing, right? But it's literally pinging between yearly levels. Like, you guys know how to find these levels, right? They've been laid out on stream. Like, it's just a matter of having them, setting some alerts, right? You see a go there, you see a level hold. You see, like, okay, daily's retested and it's closed above. You see, okay, but there's a 4-hour close and the next candle is bullishly engulfing. You would just enter a trade, and if you get below this, you cut. It's as simple as that, right? It's all about risk management. Like, we don't know what's going to happen, right? The first rule of trading is you don't know what's going to happen. Once you accept that fact, trading becomes much easier because then you start thinking in terms of probabilities, right? We don't know if this is going to hold the next candle, but statistically speaking, if a yearly levels gets held like this and you have a bullishly engulfing candle, it tends to play out to the upside rather than the downside, right? So then you frame a trade around that statistic and then you watch as it plays out more time than not, right? It's what it is. There is no secret code to it, right? It's just it's a probability game. Jupe tag, let's take a look. Some good spot entries here, probably. Some of these are, yeah, that weekly candle is atrocious. But if anyone wanted to try like a spot play on some of these alts that have the, this is like a coin I got off Ghost, right, Hoffy, because he has something called crime coins in his server. And these things are the ones that's basically like manipulated by the cartel, right? If you get on the right side of it, you make bank. If you get on the wrong side, you short too early, you just lose your port, right? But this is an area where you can very easily try and hedge an entry for this, in my opinion. This one is tag. Trend is to the upside, so if you wanted to try and hedge like a entry, it would be like that, right? I reckon the problem is my VPN. Give me a moment. No, it's not. It's in Manny. It shouldn't be buggy. HBAR, this is one I shared yesterday as well. I was saying, look, if HBAR can reclaim this Shark 886, it's an area where you can very easily manage your risk, right? And another way we were looking at it was actually like this. So if you look at it in terms of 12-month buy seller zone, well, you add the 12-month buy seller zone right now. So this was the long that I gave yesterday, right? If you wanted to have like a tight long, it was something like this. Pull that like as close as wide as you want. Just make sure you line it up with some like counterbody closes from the past, But if you want to play, even if you want to play it slightly safer, you don't want to risk something until, it looks ripe to do so, then just wait for that. Because what is this, right? This is a Shark 886, so it's obviously a key level in terms of M shapes. And also, it is a previous range high look from 2020 range high. So if you can get above that, you have a way better argument for why you would be long. To the range mid first, if you can get above that, let's send it all the way to range highs again, right? So you can wait for that, because if you can't get above this at the end of the day, you might very well give us the range mid. We know how range trading works, so if we've lost our range mid at the end of the day, you could fully explore to this zone down over here towards 4 cents. That'd be another 50% reduction in price. I feel like we need some sort of black swan for that to happen, but you never know, right? So, but yeah, either reclaim or wait for that, right? If you don't want to take the trade from yesterday, there's no harm in it. Like, if arguably you'd have a better trade above this. So, but I got to point these coins out because now they're areas where, for example, if HBAR puts another high low in, look at the argument, right? High low, high low, high low, high low, high low, another M-shaped completion, high low. Like that is accumulative over time. Someone is buying this. Same reason why I got you guys to XRP at like 40, 50 cents, and that ran up to whatever dollar it ran up to last bull run, right? Like you'd have the same argument. So HBAR looks good for next cycle. I'm not lying, right? Structure looks good for now. Like let's say you go to this low, then that's a different story. But that hasn't happened yet, right? We've got to frame a trade based on what we see on charts currently. And if the 886 and that range high is reclaimed, HBAR looks fantastic, in my opinion, for a scalp to swing. CAS, nothing much has happened. Same old story with CAS. I think I've got CAS on this one. So if you just give me a moment. CAS chart. There we go. Still in between, right? We haven't flipped HPR1. We haven't hit HPR2. Sorry, PRZ2. So I'm really hoping we get PRZ2 at this point. Give us PRZ2. I would love to, start positioning myself from down over there. Might be greedy of me, I know, but a system's a system. I'll stick with my own system. Pendle. Interested. I really, really hope, you have no idea how badly I hope we get that 886. I really hope we get it. Like, we're front running it to hell over here. But, we should do, there's so much liquidity to be taken on this. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they say, you could go send Pendle all the way to $7, right? And it would just be distributive, right? You taking all the stops out, that'd be money to sell into, and then, you'd be looking for this to, die again, right? But I do hope we get that 886. Do we get it? I don't know. Hopefully we get it by October. Virtuals below the 886 of the bat, but that's no problem. I can go back over here because there is a lot more PRZs for virtuals. There we go. Right? Same thing, right? Either you flip one or we wait for two. Easy. Simplify it for yourself. Lit. Trying to approach new highs. Not bad. Absolutely sending. Again, I would like to focus your attention on what this was. 0.5, that's a nice bat. That's near enough a perfect bat, right? This was shown on stream. This was further emphasized on stream that this looks bullish as hell. And then M shape to a higher low. We discussed that on stream too. And the next thing you know, bull. Just don't fade the M shapes. Like we've seen it time and time and time again. One of the most powerful systems created in trading, in my opinion. God bless Scott Carney. And again, I'm very happy that Grass is one of the only green tokens within this list today. Again, this one I talked about. I shared this list originally like months ago. And then again, I pinged this chart when it was down over here. The same time I pinged like a few days after I pinged the BTC Eat Soul thing, I believe. Actually, no, it was before that. So yeah, Grass looks insane, right? It looks absolutely beautiful. And I wouldn't be surprised if this thing went to 80 cents next. The only thing is I do hope we get like a bigger flush. That's just the greedy person in me talking. Like, this would be an amazing entry, amazing area to build a bag, even like build an even cheaper bag, let's say. Because right now we're at the precipice, right? They're the 886, we're below it. So if the 886 is not claimed and we keep selling off around the 886, then who knows? Like next thing you know, you've dumped a B and then you've raided all this liquidity. It could happen. We don't know, right? But if it doesn't happen, then the next target is this M shape, which again I pointed out. That M shape T1, T2, you're flipping T2 right now, you would just send it to 1.618. That is at 81 cents. That's a 2x. That's going to be a 2x from original entry, by the way. 100% move. Robo, if we take a look, I'm not interested in this until we can get above this, right? Out of all the trades I took, this was the only red one because we just couldn't hold that crap 1.618. And it's fine, right? Not everything's going to be a win. But if we can't get above that 1.618, the next target I'll be looking for is the 886 at 0.009. So let's see. We either reclaim that or we start selling off towards the 0.886. One or the other. Let me check back to the chat. Hey brother, Juke. Hope you're well, bro. Will. Wiz. Nice. The guys here. I don't know like at what point everyone joined, but the recording will be available. So, for whatever you missed, you can just take a look at that. Oh, since we're here, since we are here, thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Florida family vacation. Nice, bro. Hope you had a good time. For the Elliott wave, Wyckoff, and I'm throwing in tick-based charts for you guys as well. For you guys doing that, we have like 3 more people joining, 3 waiting to join. One person's on vacation as well. They'll be back mid-July. I'm on vacation this month too. Minimum 10 days, but if I really like it here, then I'll either just hop around to neighboring countries or just stay in Albania for a bit. So we have 3 more people joining. So end of July, start of August. I know I keep pushing it back, but it's because like people just keep trickling in, and this has to be a one-time thing because I can't do this session again, right? So I'm not going to be doing Wyckoff, Elliott waves, and tick-based charts in the future. It's going to be a one-time thing because it's a niche enough topic as it is. Like it took me like years to have a group big enough to warrant doing it now, right? So I'm not going to be doing doing teaching people like this. I don't plan on doing it forever. Like I'm going to stop pretty much whenever I think the bottom's in because then I just want to focus on my fun, focus on trading, and after that it's like, well, just retire, right? I'm not going to be teaching it, so there's no point in me holding out for like a future group. That's why it's taking a bit longer. So I'm really sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I'm sorry, bro. I know. But yeah, we have 3 more people joining. Yeah. And then yeah, once those are in, we'll get started, right? So I had a big client meeting today as well. So secured another 200K for the fund. That's in pounds. with the pipeline open based on performance over the next coming years for that to turn into like couple mil more from the same people put in. And they're not even looking for crazy returns. So that today was a big close. So I'm happy of how that went. Um, but yeah, you guys, once we do so, just so we're fully transparent, right? Once we do the footprint charts, sorry, once we do the Wyckoff, the Elliott waves, and the tick based charts, I'll either be creating a separate Discord or like a separate area within this server itself. I don't know which one yet. I'm leaning towards a separate Discord. Um, but I will be creating that for that group because obviously once I start focusing on the fund fully, I have to think of it from a business perspective as well, right? I can't like I've been sharing like every single play I take. I've been sharing everything for free, like for you guys here, for on YouTube, so on and so forth, on Twitter, other groups. But I'm gonna start just gatekeeping the alpha like way more. So I'm not saying the bunker's gonna close down or anything, but there's going to be like so just like I've been giving every single play I've been taking and stuff, there'll just be less of that basically. Like I'll still do live streams and stuff, like here and there, like once a week, once every 2 weeks. But there's just gonna be like less pure alpha going out, right? I'm gonna just reserve that for the people who are going to be putting money into the fund in the future. Just because from a business perspective, I have to gatekeep it. Yeah, there's still time to sign up if you want, Rudy. We're not gonna start till so on an institutional level, bro, Wiz, it's 100K. That's in US dollars. So obviously, if you're in pounds, that's going to be a bit less. Um, but for you guys who are not like institutional, obviously I'll nice you guys. Like it's not going to be like 100K. Whatever we can. There's going to be like a minimum amount. I'll have to. If it was just me running the fund, I'll just be like, yeah, guys, just put whatever you're comfortable with. But obviously, this is me and two of my friends, right? They're handling more of the logistics and the property side of things because the management fees and the profits, so on and so forth. We're not going to take anything out. Number one, that's going to save us on tax, and number two, that's being rotated straight into properties instead because we have Trifecta Holdings, right, which is our uh, fund. Then we have Trifecta Properties as well, right? And we're going to be buying up properties in Southeast Asia, Europe, some places, but mainly just Asia, I think, right? Just up and coming areas where we expect value to really, really skyrocket over the next 50, 60 years, so on and so forth. So everything's going to stay in house. We're not going to take much ourselves, like, because I don't need it. Like, my friends don't need it. So it's just a matter of, yeah, let's just grow it. Why get taxed on income? By we just roll everything within the company itself, just be self-sufficient. Is there an end date? Not really, bro. There's no really end date. So right now, like I said, we've been keeping it very, very private, right? So these are the people, for example, the people who did 200K today is someone I know in real life, right? So I've been keeping it like that, either like just pure institutional people, who we have a connection to through our like history and through my friends' histories, worked in hedge funds before, or just family members who we know can handle it. So the person today was a family member of one of my friends who are on the phone with, but it was my job to convince their family that basically I'm worth investing in. It was that, right? So I had like a 2.5 hour call, explain my system, my personal track record, all of that. And by the end of it, they were very happy. I was trying to explain footprint charts to like some 8-year-old grandma, right? You can imagine what kind of meeting it was. But just showing like what kind of tactics we'll be using, what we're looking at, just emphasizing risk management, so on and so forth. There's no set number for now, bro. Because I haven't really thought about it. But like I said, for you guys, it's we're not gonna make it difficult to enter. Um, I was just throwing round numbers out for now, maybe 5K, 10K, probably like somewhere between 5 to 10K minimum. But we'll see. Because if loads of people are like, I really want to invest, but I can't afford that, then maybe I'll lower it for you guys. But I just have to. Something I have to talk to my friends about, right? Because it's three of us who run this together. I'm just in charge of the actual fund. But yeah, for that reason, I think the easiest way to do it will be for me to create another Discord. So I'll be creating a separate Discord for the people who are going to do Wyckoff, Elliott Wave, so on and so forth. And I'll be but there'll be more alpha given there, basically, right? I will give more here. I'm not saying I'm going to stop here because that was, and the whole point of this was you guys have access to me. I will still give like, entries. I'll still look at charts with you guys here. Nothing will change in that regard. It's just the actual amount of alpha given out is going to decrease here. But I want to gatekeep. Do you know what I mean? Now that it is like there's people who work in hedge funds in this group. I'm not going to call out names, but there's people who own hedge funds, obviously, right? So I got to think of it from a business perspective as well, right? That's just it. But yeah, if you're interested, Rudy, I'll send you a DM after this stream's over, and yeah, we can get it done from there. The next door. Well, for those of you that are UK based, I think if I'm ever like in the vicinity of someone from this group, then I'm more than happy to like link up for like a meet in, get some food, get some drinks. I don't mind. Or if I'm ever in one of your home countries, because there's people from all over the globe here, that I don't mind meeting. I got nothing. As long as no one's planning to fucking jack me. I don't carry my funds on me, bro. You take my life before you jack me. I'm not giving you my seed phrases either. Yeah, yeah, bro. Yeah, definitely. I was. Um, but yeah, that's enough of that, right? Let's get back to this. So for anyone interested, because if you don't have the Elliott Wave Wyckoff and tick-based charts tick next to your name, then I haven't got you down as being in it yet, obviously. So if you have it next to your name, just you're in basically. I need to revise that today, but because originally, like I know some people sign up for Elliott Waves only, right? But like if you want to get to that new one, like tick based charts and Wyckoff is a must because that's going to be used as a part of the strategy for how the fund will operate. So um, but anyway, so we looked at Bitcoin, we looked at ETH, we looked at all of this. Is there any coins you guys want me to look at? I can look at a couple. There's still an hour or so, I think, until Brazil and Norway kick off. Yeah, still an hour. I'm in Albania, gang. I my left alive. My flight was at like 8 in the morning, so I left mine at 4. And then came here. I'm here for 10 days. That's my plan right now, anyway, because I'm in phase two of my new restaurant. And basically, what that is so phase one was like get the name up and running, get a good customer base, get the regulars in, pay off for the original amount invested. So now phase two is like renovate a bit more, right? The building I bought is really, really old, so some rewiring needs to be done. Some appliances need to be done. Our walk-in fridge broke down in the fucking heat wave as well, of all things. So that needs to get fixed. So I've got all the contractors there. I've got people I trust doing the work up while I'm in Albania. So I'm just traveling in the meantime while that's happening. Um, and if I really like it here, I'll explore more of it and stay for a bit longer. Because I've not got a return ticket yet, just a single out solo backpack. So woke up giving US great reviews, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, um Canada got knocked out the other day, right? And I'm really sorry for because I know there's a few Canadians in the server, but the matchup it was crazy. Thank you, bro. Yeah, I was gonna say Canada just do no chance, bro. The thing is, right? I think if we now that I think the World Cup's really going to popularize, like football in the US, right? Especially now that like bigger and bigger European names and South American names are getting signed to teams there, right? US based teams. Um, and the thing is, give it like I don't want to say like a whole generation, maybe give it like 30, 40, 50 years. Like, US football will do crazy. At the end of the day, like, USA has insane athletes, right? The gene pool you guys have, the specimen to select from is absolutely nuts. So I have no doubt that you guys could dominate in football if you wanted to. But you just got to understand it's like when you compare it to South America and Europe, the prestige is just the pedigree is different, right? Just pure like physical ability is not going to take you past the line when you have like actual decades and decades of just pure like spirit and strategy and experience from Europe and like South America and stuff. Yeah, this is crazy, but Germany should have won that game though, because that that was just a clear dive from the Paraguay, what do you say, Paraguayan goalkeeper. Like it was hardly a scrape. That should have been a goal. And I don't know what their team was thinking because Tar should not have taken that penalty. That was his first penalty in an international stage, right? And the only reason he took it is because the four people, like the four forwards, the strikers, and the people who actually had experience, all refused to take it. I think that I don't know, the nerve got to them or something. They all refused. So that's the reason Tar took it after four other players refused. Like it's insane. Yeah, hockey's kind of mad in Canada, bro. Hockey's like an insane. I would love to play it once. I've never played it. I'm scared to get inside an ice hockey ring. I feel like I'd get executed. I'd definitely be the con who slaps his stick up against the floor, right? I know that's like a fucking declaration of war or whatever. That's fire. Yeah. But I see some insane like fights break out. And especially with ice hockey, like, bro, I would love to try. I played a lot of American football. Believe it or not, in the UK, like, it is actually quite popular. So I played a lot of American football, but yeah, I've never played ice hockey. Baseball, I fucking love baseball, bro. It's just a better version of cricket, let's be honest. And I know I'm gonna start some war saying that, but and this is coming from someone obviously that I grew up in Nepal, right? Cricket's fucking huge that side of the world. Um, Cricket is fun, bro. Don't get it wrong. Cricket is fun, but I just prefer baseball, bro. It feels so much more satisfying to hit holding a baseball bat and holding a cricket bat. Like sometimes I feel like the equipment calls out to you. It's like I've held both a lot of times, and a baseball bat just feels so natural. It's just insane. Yeah, bro. Baseball clears any day of the week. And the ways you can throw the ball as well, right? Because yeah, I love pitching, I love batting, right? The ways you can throw the ball in a baseball, right? The different like grips you can do, and the different ways you can throw the ball, bro. It's so deep, right? With cricket, though, you just tend to just fucking wham it down and hope you get the wicket. So yeah, bro, paddles. I played my first game last month, and I thought it was quite fun. I thought it was quite fun. Good way to like just get with your boys, get a sweat going, burn some calories, grab some food after. Yeah, bro, paddle is fun. It is very, very fun. I don't know the rules yet. I kind of just keep smacking it, but once I learn the rules, it'll be more fun. Okay, let me look at the three tickets that was put down there. XRP, Sol, Peng. Okay, so Sol I've already looked at, but I'll look at it again for you, bro. Basically what we were saying on Sol was it's had the best move. Again, this was called, right? BTC, ETH, and Sol were called. Sol's actually the deep godly, right? When I call this in crypto chat, you had the Garly to deep Garly, low in price, high low in RSI. That absolutely sent you clear to the top side. You've cleared all your harmonic targets. You've hit the 1.618. You will not enter fresh here, is what we're saying. Okay, because old range, mid, rejection, 1.618, primary extension, rejection, potential for an inverted smiley face. If it comes to pass, you have a good area to head short. Otherwise, like, I'd look for minimum that range mid before you try a scalp long, right? But for all we know, this could just be another lower high before, like, this gets absolutely raided and we hit the macro ABCD target, which I really hope we do hit. So not a good area for fresh long entries, basically, for Sol right now. But that has played out. Insane move, right? And I've shared all the PNLs of all these plays. I've currently got 24 positions on Bybit or scalp to swings. Some of them are head shorts, like for example, the Mon short, right? That I shared. The Mon short was from higher. Um, some of them are like hedge shorts, some of them are hedge longs. But yeah, just going back into the swing of things, I think July will be green for crypto. We've had a green July so far. Let's see how it goes. But that's Sol. Let's look at XRP. That's a good shout. I've not looked at that chart in a little while. Uh, I can bet you right now it's bounced off a yearly level though, because when a 6 month close happens, you tend to be around yearly levels, right? So I promise I've not looked at this chart in a while, but I bet it's around a yearly level. That's how much I have faith in my system. So let's take a look. If I take a look, one sec. Is it close to a yearly? Where is all the 12-month buy seller zones gone? One sec, guys. I have a chart with all the 12-month buy seller zones. Where's it gone? Should have one. Let me check. There we go. This one, or is it this one? It's this one. Is that a yearly? That should be a yearly. I'm not sure. One sec. I think that's a yearly. Yeah, I'm telling you, 6 months tend to be around yearlies, right? Yeah, that's a yearly. There's a yearly mid right there. Benefits of having a system of your own, right? But yeah, nice bounce of the yearly low. Sorry, the yearly mid. I forget which year this is from. I've not marked them down, but it's a yearly mid. Um, Again, if you're looking for a scalp, it's a terrible area to try and manage your risk in any matter in any form. For a swing, even for a swing, I wouldn't. Here's the thing. Here's your last range. You're at the mid of that, right? So you can try and scalp the swing along above that to $1.28. Um, but below this, I just wouldn't enter a long until we get like either a deeper pullback or a flip. Long risk to reward isn't just there. It just isn't there right now, right? And obviously we have this range here. So if you're gonna get a pullback, you would hope we get a pullback to like this range of sorts here. So with that entire picture in mind, your safer entry here would be above this, right at the end of the day. If you want to just have a position and forget about it based on, just like a hard stop, you can, if you want a slightly wider one, you can have a 4% stop. If you want to keep it really, really close to your chest, just like a 2 point something percent right over here. There you go. And your first target is going to be here. This all depends on whether you clear that mid or not, by the way, this mid here, right? But if you do, that'll be your first target. And if you get above that, the mid minimum, I would say, for that old range. If we can get above that, let's look to clear all this liquidity out before, flush it back down. But not a bad place to manage your risk, right? Not a bad place to manage your risk at all. Like as long as you're above that wick, you can very easily manage your risk here. So that's XRP. Pengu, that's a good shout. I'm in a long on that because of actually Ghost. He was like, Pengu looks good. I looked today and I thought it looked fucking amazing. So if we look at Pengu, where is it? If I go here, Pengu, one sec. There we go. The reason I like Pengu was simply because based on my own system, boom, mid of a yearly, right? There's your yearly. 2025 buy zone, mid hit, right? And even now, like it's not over because if we can come and retest this on the daily, bro, if you can come and retest that on the 3-day and actually hold above it, right? If you can do it on a weekly even, right? Break above, come down, give it a retest, damn, that would look absolutely amazing. But I entered because obviously when it's happening, there's no guarantees you're going to get a pullback. So I just entered scalp the swing there on Pengu. Pengu looks good. Don't let anyone tell you it doesn't. It looks good. Not because the chart looks amazing and it's screaming accumulation, simply because of where we are. Risk is inherently so easy to manage here that it doesn't make sense to just let it fade when you have such an easy opportunity to, right? You don't even need to utilize leverage for all of these. You can just play spot at the areas we are at. But yeah, Pengu looks amazing. So as long as you're above 6192, like it's simple. You would be long, right? Or you would be in some spot position for this. If you lose this, you start closing below 6192, just cut it because chances are you might at that point go and raid 3702 for either a double bottom or like a rate to reclaim. And if that happens, that would look even better, right? In terms of risk to reward. But there's no guarantee that's going to happen as long as the mid is holding, right? Yeah, the reason I only shared Grass, Robo, BTC, ETH, Sol PNLs is because, and one short PNL is because those are trades I actually gave, right? The other ones I've mentioned in stream, but I haven't exactly like been hounding you guys for it. So, um, or they're like, older PNLs that just haven't been stopped out yet. There's no point PNL flooding, right? It's like, yeah, get it. We're all in trades. Nothing major's happened yet. So yeah, I'm not that fussed about sharing all my PNLs and stuff. Um, but yeah, Pengu looks good. Is that everything? Or do I still owe you a ticker? XRP. Okay, that's Pengu. Is anyone else wanna Sui? Yes, let's take a look at Sui. Canton and Sui. So Canton and Sui. Canton for Rudy. That sounds familiar. Let me see if I have. Canton is the chain, right? Yes, I knew I had it. CC Canton Network. Let's take a look. It's underneath smart contract. Yeah, this I remember this chart's been nothing but up only since it came out. I don't like buying things like this simply because I have no element of risk. Sui was like this when it first came out, and then it gave us a nice M shape. I hope we get an M shape on this. I don't know if we will. But I mean, there's nothing even in development right now. Like, if you wanted to take a trade, you would do so entirely based off range, right? So the easiest thing you can do for yourself in situations like this, Rudy, you just draw out the defined ranges. There's one range, right? There's another range right here. So you've got two key levels right there, right? So looking at this, you can easily look at this and be like, okay, is it a good place to enter? It's not a bad place to enter, given that you adhere to the risk management. That is, if you lose that range low, you cut, because then you have a chance to go all the way down to this range low, right? And then of course you have this here, right? There you go. So if that's lost, this zone would be a target. And you can color them like different colors or whatever you please, but here. This would be all the like, every line you see would be the areas where you expect if this is lost there, if this is lost there, if this is lost there. Just set your alerts, because at the end of the day, you're looking for scalp to swings, right? For scalp to swings, this might look like, oh, they're very close together, but your entry on the scalp to swings are not going to be on the 1 hour, right? And to be honest, I don't even know if it's worth trying to get a 3-minute entry on something like this. Maybe like hour would be best, right? Half an hour to an hour. Actually, yeah, hourly entries would be best. And you can see like, that is sizable gaps on the 1 hour. Like for example, from here to here is a 5% drop. From here to here is a 6% drop, is a 7% drop. This is a 9% drop, right? And if you segment it like this, it becomes much easier for you to, if this is lost, you cut straight away, right? If this is lost, you cut straight away until you either reclaim or you go lower. And that way, because this also helps you avoid being in that situation where you lose this, right? You're like, oh, it might bounce, and the next thing you know, end up holding for a 20% loss, right? You tend to avoid the situation if you segment it like this. But yeah, that's Canton. Easy area for you to manage so what is from here to here right now is, if you wanted to try like a spot bag, which is what I'd recommend, Rudy, or like a low leverage long. Um, easy. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with you taking a shot as long as you agree that if these lows are taken, right? Because obviously this low has now taken all this liquidity, so you might get a relief bounce back towards 16 cents, so on and so forth. As long as you agree that should you go towards 15 and see weakness, or should you go towards 16 and see weakness, you start at least trimming some profits, putting a stop loss to break even, right? Get risk free early, because you got to understand, this can very easily turn distributive, locally speaking. Give us some sort of M shape, so on and so forth, and then go up from there, right? You can very, very easily do that. For example, like, we could be staring at a shark in the making as we speak. Like you have this, you have that. Got 1.264 over here. That could easily give us, if you take a look, like something like this, right? Because it's 886 minimum, but that's too shallow. So then you'd be saying, okay, well, 1.618 is a minimum extension. So then something like this, right? To flush the entire range. Obviously, the wave structure isn't valid until it actually hits, but it's something that could be in the making, right? So we just got to be wary during moments like this. But yeah, for CC, like where we currently are, you can try and take a shot for sure. As long as you agree, then you would calculate that position size, you would think of a number, are you okay taking a loss? Let's say it's $1,000, right? You would then calculate based on your stop loss, and your invalidation right now is simply if this wick is lost. All right, that's about, let's say, from current price is a 6.47% entry. You would calculate what is the position size you need, so that should the price go against you for that 6.47% and hit your stop loss, you only lose that $1,000 you're okay losing, right? And then you would just build on it like that, basically. That's CC. Sui next. Let's take a look at Sui. Virtuals is another one, still below all of its M shapes. Yeah, but Virtual has a load of M shapes in the making. There was another one, I forgot what the ticker was. There was one where it was literally back to back M shapes. I remember, one sec, guys. Before I go to Sweet, before I forget, let me just go over this one. This one is another crime token, right? Fresh off Ghost's list. This one, I was looking at it, I was like, holy shit. Look at it, right? Either range mid, right, for a potential attack, or you actually go and complete that bat now, right? 0.886 from here. But if you get that PRZ, I think it's worth taking a shot. Because otherwise, if this PRZ is lost, you know, you've got the Godly 786. If that's lost, you're rating the entire range low. But there's your trend. M shape to M shape to M shape. Like if these hold and buys actually, you know, show strength at the PRZ, this could have a very, very nice move to the upside. I think you've traded this one before too, right? Anti-bro. So basically, my friend Ghost, he calls crime tokens. These are tokens that are like, so for example, things like, if I just show you an example of some of the coins, right? Things like, I'm sure this was something we shorted here in the group. Something like Rave, right? If I was to show you guys the Rave chart, you will understand immediately what I mean when I say crime tokens. Take a look. This is what we mean when we say crime tokens, okay? Tokens which have a low float, which are controlled by like a particular group of people, right? Where you can go on chain and see who controls most of the supply. Majority of the supply are controlled by some people. So you know there's benefit in them running it up, right? They'll run it up with low float. They'll collect funding fees on anyone trying to catch the short on the way up, right? They'll literally rinse you just on funding. Even if you catch a top short, you're gonna lose your portfolio on funding. And then after they're done with that, right? And there's too much heat to deal with, they'll just dump the entire thing and be done with it. You will find time and time and time again, you will find charts like this. Okay, these are crime tokens, and you know, if you manage to catch one of these early, it's nice. Yes, catching the short is nice, but remember, you will always make more money on a long than a short. Why? Well, because the maximum you can catch a token is 100% down, right? But on the way up is not just 100%; it is multiples, right? So you can do the math yourself, right? You will always make more money on a long than a short. So, you know, if you can catch one of these early, that is good, right? If you know a way to like risk, so on and so forth. I believe Re is one crime token. I don't know, right? Because I don't normally trade tickers. I've not traded rather tickers like this in years. I've been off the fucking gulag. I've not been in the trenches like this in a while. But Google was another one, right? This was something I was looking to actively short, but then I didn't pay attention to it for a while, and the next time I checked, it dropped already. But it would have, I bet it bounced off like in a log fib level, right? Um, but yeah, these are crime tokens. Um, and you know, let's say RE is one. I don't know if it is, but you know, the fact of the matter is, we might be able to catch a nice move. That's all that matters, right? Do we have an area where we can manage risk, and do we have a potential move to catch on this? If yes, I'm interested. That's all. Velvet's another fucking piece of shit crime token. Look at this trash, bro. Absolutely insane, right? In fact, looking at this now, like you would 100% not fade this at these areas. Like if you wanted to take a shot, yes, it's 10% down, but to the downside, or rather 9%. But I'm literally talking. You would not be surprised if this just rocketed back to these areas. It's like such low float shit that you wouldn't be surprised if you caught like 143% pump out of nowhere on this. Right? You just wouldn't. If you can break above that range high, like why not? Right? Is literally what you'd be thinking. To maybe send it here to distribute further, right? Another lower high for people to sell into, and then drop it. Like fully could happen, you know. And Ori's just one of them. If you do, let me know early, bro. I'll buy up like 80% of the supply, and then we can gift like 3% to some exchanges, and then watch as everyone tries to short it, collect the funding fees, and then dump our supply once it gets high enough. Easy. Medical, we can look at that, bro. I was just looking at the thingy the other day, the actively watching stocks list, and semis was down, everything was down, medicals was just green. So there's obvious medical rotation going on. Um, Okay, so anyway, Sui. Let's look at Sui. Where is it, bro? It's up here somewhere. There we go. Holy hell, man. I'm no more. I fully think this thing can make a comeback next cycle. Whether it reaches new highs or not, that's to be seen, right? But this thing hasn't experienced a proper bull market. It just hasn't. And you could argue, like, obviously it made new highs, but the conditions were not like in 2021, right? So, but yeah, I'm not interested in these areas until now we either raid those lows, like I'd want to see that low get tapped, or we go and hit reclaim that below that PRZ. I'm just not interested, right? This thing is exciting because for those of you that took this trade with me back in 2024, you remember there were two very nice things about this area. Number one was the shark. Okay, this was a goated shark. It was a fucking crazy shark. 1.618,886, as you can see, I'll ping it to the 886. But what most people missed was it was not just a shark. If you were willing to look at this, it was also something you could have taken as a Gartley or a bad one or the other. One sec. Now I'm confused. There was definitely, was it lower time frame? There was definitely a valid M shape down here that was not just a shark. I had it. Which chart did I have it on? One sec. Let me just find which one it was. Unless I'm bugging. I swear there was a Gartley that sent this higher. Am I bugging? There was definitely something that sent this. One sec. There was definitely a shark, but there was something else as well. Um, I'm confused as hell now. One sec, guys. Sui, where are you? Unless I'm remembering it wrong, but I swear there was something else down here. What am I thinking of? Hey, not that, not that, not too, not that. Yeah, I must be bugging. I swear there was more than one M shape here. The shark was like an obvious one, right? But or was I thinking of something up over here? Yeah, this thing's had a load of M shapes. So this one obviously we caught as well, but that bottom there, this had some nice M shapes. One sec. I might just be bugging. It might just have been the shark, and I'm like remembering something else. I'm gonna have to go with that. I mean, it must have been that. Okay. Well, anyway, we had an M shape, right? That kickstarted this whole thing. And by the looks of things, we're going to get some sort of crazy type 2 retest of that M shape as we speak. Again, that M shape in question is this. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to draw this M shape's PRZ on. Okay, so we have the 886 right over here. This is the shark 0.886. And the reason I'm drawing this is because we're clearly very, very close to revisiting these areas. The 1.618 is slightly higher. Obviously, a shark needs to be a minimum 886, but since it's so close, I will just go ahead and put it down. There. There is a completely valid PRZ from the past that has never been Type 2 retested, might I add, right? Never ever been Type 2 retested. So I'm going to do this, create a group of drawings. This is going to be done, right? But I will leave it open nonetheless. So below this deep crab, I have no interest until we either we reclaim that, right, the old range, the PRZ, or we actually finally get some sort of, I mean, that's given it, but that's a liquidation wick, reconfirmation that this is support, and then that might be a really nice area to bid this around these levels. Yeah, for sweet. Just there's no strength right now to even warrant looking at this, right? It's literally retesting the other side of an old range as resistance. There is no confirmation of a trend shift. There is no sign buyers are even paying attention to this. So for now, I'd say needs more time in the oven to cook for sweet. Okay, so that was sweet. Do you mean on sweet, bro? It might be a bat, but that looks a bit too deep to be a bat, I'd say. For a bat, it's a 0.5 max, right? It's between 0.382 and 0.5 retracement. I think that might be a bit too deep. Unless I take it from there, maybe. But even then, no, just looking at that, that looks more like a... That looks like it's gone past the 618. But you could be onto something. It could be a deep Gartley, depending on what ratio this is. Yeah, no, this is too deep, right? 0.693, like it's a bit too deep because the 618 is like all the way over here. I just don't like how deep that wick is. But if you were to view it like that, you could argue for a deep Gartley completion. So if we view it from that angle, and the deep crab, right? If we view it from the angle of a 618, you just got to ask yourself, was the 618 respected as resistance, as support? But there's a limit to how much I'll accept a B point being absolutely ravaged like this, right? This has had a deep thrust below. For a Gartley, normally it's plus or minus 3% on the B point. So this vastly exceeds that, right? So obviously plus 3% would be 618 plus 3, that's going to be 648. So that's way past that. But what I'm going to do is just going to chuck this around that 618. It's somewhere over here. And we're simply going to go and see, was this level respected as support and resistance? Now, what kind of price action did we get every time we went there? Sort of. Yeah, that's meaningful. Yeah, I mean, you reclaimed it back into support before going higher. Yeah. If you view it as a deep Gartley, sure. It's, you're at the 1.618, 886 right now, in fact, right? But we're pinning this to a non-valid, let's say, extension. If you pin it to the actual move, right? And if it was just like a bit over, I wouldn't really mind, right? But in this case, there isn't enough data showing us that this was respected as support resistance. Not really, just a little bit on the lower time frame. And if you do that, all of a sudden, that is, yeah, that's not quite a 1.618. That is way too deep. Yeah, it's pretty tough, this one. I would hesitate to call this a proper Gartley. You have an informal Gartley. Let's put it at that. Let's keep it that way, right? You have an informal Gartley. But you are at macro 886s. That is, that is something that is extremely evident. You are a macro 886, but just no valid M shape, in my opinion. But yeah, macro 886, right? That's something to watch for. Literally just use that 886 as areas to like scalp swing off of. But a retest these levels, I mean, we got the liquidation already, but just one more to see whether, it holds, rate to reclaim, smiley face, anything down over here. Just double bottom even. That'd be beautiful. The deep crab 2.0 is probably somewhere down over here as well. If I was to extend this, one sec. Now the 2.0 is a bit too deep. I don't like that. That would be a worst case scenario. Yeah, so let's take that off for now. I'm not saying it can't happen, but some things you want to hold as support and not lose. But yeah, there's no bat on Sui, bro. SHX, that is stronghold token, right? Let's take a look. It's not going to be under LS, I'm pretty sure, but it might be on the master list. I believe it's on the master list. One sec. This one had a crazy move back in the day when you first mentioned it, bro. You back to major support. Is there anything interesting in this area? Not yet. I would want it to go deeper looking at the yearly. I'd want it to test that minimum. So you have a 6 month here. Since we have a fresh 6 month close, as long as these levels of support, you're not going to be bearish at the end of the day, you know? Like, for example, if you want to take a shot because you believe this is about to go up for whatever reason that may be, your first instincts would be to put your stops below those. Look to the left, right? We've had wicks as low as this, so something like that, like a 2 something percent stop, right? And then, you know, you target just highs, maybe this high, take that out, maybe previous range low, right? You don't have to wait for that if you want to play it really, really close to your chest. That something like that you could try for a scalp to swing and then see if you can turn it into a swing after, if you can reclaim some of these range lows. Because if you can reclaim this range low over here, then you're talking mid minimum, and above mid you're taking these highs out, right? So then you get more expansion. But you know, even if you enter here, there is a lot of overhead resistance on this token right now, which has proven to be supply so far every time we've visited it. So, but if that's lost, then you would try, you know, the 6 month mid and then the 6 month low for SHX. Very simple. Because the macro structure is not bullish, the structure is not nice. There's nothing screaming accumulation. There is nothing screaming like you know, strength. Not yet. No footprint left behind by any big buyers. Nor is there any valid reason, I would say, why this should be the area where you bottom. I'm not really. So I think this needs more time, but I think as a reactionary trade, you definitely have a opportunity right now to capitalize on where you currently are on the chart. Like a 2% stop loss on old, that's very good. Yeah, bro, I remember you mentioning these back in the day during one of our one-on-ones as well. But yeah, that's SHX. There is, yeah, that's all looking good. Yeah, I mean, let's quickly go to the stock side of things, right? There was one that I was asked to look at in stocks chats. Just give me a moment. Uh, oh, is it? Is JNX strong going into next week? JANX, that's the one. My bro Dragon Tree asked me about that. JANX. Oh, I don't have this. Oh, okay, but look, we've looked at it. It's going to be on the. So this is the medical stocks, right? So you see what I mean? Look at semis, look at everything else, and then look at medical. Okay, medical is clearly catching a big ass fucking rotation right now. Medical and some software stocks, but medical has been insane. It's just been green across the board. Um, and yeah, look, semis has been just dying. But it's not a surprise, right? It's because I don't know how closely you guys follow the Korean market, but if you're trading semis and AI, you need to be following the Korean market. So basically, as a gist of it, right, just a quick overview as to why we're getting this hit on AI and semis right now. I'm gonna keep it very, very simple. Korea as a whole, right, is leverage long to the tits, bro. Right? Retail is leverage long as fuck on Korea, right? The COPC or whatever you call it. You know, the SN Hynix, and a few other companies, that's all from Korea. the leverage long. But the thing is, you're seeing record, but you're seeing money leaving, right? At the same time, institutional money, big money leaving the COPSI, so on and so forth, from actual big traders at the same time. So retail is max net long while institutional money is leaving, right? That's just not a recipe for success, right? Because one hit, and bro, it's like a house of cards, right? Um, and of course, the US markets is going to feel what that feels, because you can think of the COPSI, the Korean side of the markets as like the prevailing sentiment of AI and you know um everything to do with that world, including semis, right? Think of it like the prevailing sentiment. So if that sees a red day and it takes a hit, because if you look at COPSI, which I should have, uh, where is it? Stock 7 maybe. Korean Korean market. It's the COPSI. One sec. I forget what the ticker is. The ticker. I always forget what the ticker is for the Korean. I had it here somewhere, but I'm not gonna be able to find it, am I? So some there, I see it. The Kospi, not the Kopsi. I got a nice little rebound on like a 1 hour and stuff. But look at the daily, right? It's looking toppy as fuck. It's been selling off prevalently on the weekly, which is why we're seeing, when this happens, the US market is going to react because they're looking at this. Do you know what I mean? Um, so that's the reason. But we see that rotating into medical, right? We very clearly see that rotating into medical as we speak. So if we look at the medical, if we go through some of the tickers, let's just see if we can spot anything. So, so actively watching. Yeah, medical looks good. CCCC, we talked about this, right? If we can get above this, this looks insane. There's your breakout. On log, broken out of this, retested, right? That was the last entry. I actually took this on trade, but I closed it because I didn't think it looked quite ready. But that weekly, not exactly the best thing in the world. But at the end of the day, look, if the market's open on Monday and you remain above these highs, you're looking for a move to the upside on this, right? Like maybe take some of these highs out, take some of these out. You're looking for a move to the upside. And invalidation is clear. 4.26 is lost to get the hell out, right? Flipping what we need to be flipping, reclaiming. There's your accumulation, manipulation. This is your distribution phase. Very clearly. I'm not the best at, that sort of stuff, but look, above this, bunch of yearlies, we have all the room in the world to explore upwards. So this could be as simple as just doing something like this. Okay, you're trying to play to the range mid, 33%. Is it a guarantee it's gonna go? No. Okay. Just choose a few you like. This we've already gone over all of these on stream. Like this literally hit the mid of a yearly now. But again, it was the 886, right? Beam, flip the yearlies for higher, flip the yearlies, flip the mid, range mid for scalp to swing opportunities above. Like, see, look at some of this, bro. 886, double bottom, right? Since we last looked at it, double bottom, and now you're at resistance. Would you enter this on Monday? No, but you get above this, you have reasons to believe this can now expand higher. Where would you look for expansion? Easy, just bring the framework out, right? There's your high. Swing. There you go. Look for T1. You have $26 to $27 above this level. If you can get above that, you might send it straight to T2. We know they like to do that sometimes, right? So yeah, there's a lot of good stocks right now. On the medical sector, right? That's just sat there looking to catch a bid. Um, like look at this, man. Look where you were. Look where that bounces off. I actually had an alert of this, but I've got so many alerts I didn't even notice this happening. That's one of the problems when you start looking at too many charts. It's like you're gonna get drowned in alerts. But it could not have been cleaner, right? There's your smiley face at the area we pointed out once the shark was hit. Like, it's a completed M shape. Looks good. So now if you wanted to enter this, how would you do it? Well, if you look at the 6 months, I would probably base it around the 6 months. So I'd look at the macro read in this case. And yeah, if you can get above 33. Or if you lose 31, then around 29 would be a nice entry. A retest of the previous month mid, and then, take it from there. Maybe we get another smiley face here around that, 0.5 level and then send up. But there's so many that look good right now for medical, for IOVA. And I don't know what the market caps for any of these are, right? I don't know whether this pump is going to sustain. I don't know whether this is just like a fake out rotation they're doing to try and get people to sell their semis and the AI stocks before they buy back up again. I'm going to be wary of these things. I've got no fucking idea. But all I know is many of these, ever since we first look where it is, right? If you're not going to take a shot here, then where? It's the same reason I did that medical stream. And I know I haven't done all the tickers, but there's no point looking through every single ticker at the end of the. Look at this, bro. Month on month on month, you're grinding up in price. That is bullish as fuck on JNX. I can see why bro asked for it. JNX. One sec. Yeah, this was the entry given. It looks good, bro. If you're gonna be watching the recording later, bro, Dragan, this looks good, man. I mean, this looks, yeah, same target, nothing's changed. It's grinding up. What you do have here is a range, right? I'll view this in the eyes of a lens, through the lens of a range, sorry. And if you are looking for fresh entries, I would do so with then validation being if the range lowest lost, you would get out, right? Simple as that. But this looked gorgeous, and it still looks gorgeous, and it can go up if it wants. And it's not a bat, it's a shark. I don't know what I put a bat there, but that's a macro shark 1.618 right? She's gone above the 8. That's a shark, not a bat. But a completely valid one at that. Massive gap to fill. Since many of these plays like that I've given, they are green, right, on medical. I know I've not been looking at them as frequently, but they are green. This one green also currently has supply. This is SLDB. Let's take a look. Yeah, nice move up. Some of them haven't really moved, but guess where you are, right? Are you going to fade this here and close and look the other way and pretend that it doesn't exist just because it's a low cap asset? Or are you going to take a small position you don't care about and try to turn it into something meaningful? That's it, right? Look, just to range highs. I'm not asking for anything crazy here at this massive butterfly completion. I'm not asking for anything crazy. Literally just go sweep those range highs. That's going to give you a 190% move on what if this stock right here. Versus, you risk 18%. So just lower your position size, buy spot, and forget about it. Set a stop loss, set a TP, forget about it. Not financial advice. Do what you want. But many of these look very, very similar, right? Look, for example, if Arvin gets above that, that's a shark. This one had a crazy move since we looked at it. God damn, bro. ABCD Corporation. Insane. Oh, damn, bro. I'm not in this. I'm not in this whatsoever. Completely missed this. No alerts. Yeah, as usual. But insane move. Took out this liquidity like we're talking about. So next would be to try and take out this liquidity up over here. Full media. Check to the mid. Look at it, man. It's nice, right? Because, we do all this live. Come back to it. Look at that 786 to T2 move, bro. Insane. When we last looked at this, we were like, yeah, look, it's got a W-shape completion. You wouldn't enter this fresh position here, right? This is why. Look at the framework. It works, man. It works. You're looking at this all the way to the left here. Second target hit. So there is a lot of stocks. For those of you just go through the medical stocks. If you're wanting to know like which ones look good, which ones I'll be playing myself. There's one Aura, looks decent, breaking out on log, the trend line, already broken out on linear. So on Monday, if you manage to stay above this cluster, this yearly cluster, that would be a trigger in my opinion, right? As long as you can stay above this on Monday, you're trying to play to this first, right? So you don't have to go all in here if you don't want to. You can size up if this gets flipped into support as well. But the reason you enter here to try and build a position is now if you get above this, you're trying to take this out. There's a range, right? If you can take that out, then you can take these out. And all of a sudden you have some crazy moves in the bag, right? Some of them are below yearlies, Don't care about those, right? Until they reclaim. Shark, yeah. So yeah, just go through the medical stream. It's on the private folder for you guys. Looking at something that looks gorgeous, worth keeping an eye on things like this, right? We were talking about this potential smiley, and now it's coming up on a monthly basis at that, not any random time frame. If it doesn't hold here, you get out until fresh lows, basically, right? But if it holds here, you have the ultimate merit to try and manage your risk. Send this back higher. Where are you looking to send it? Look at all of these fresh stops waiting to get taken, right? There, just play it like that, simple. That's the plan. Still but interesting. There's a lot of good ones, guys. Hopefully you guys are seeing this, right? Flip that. You've got an entry. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. I'm just gonna spacebar through some of these now because there's still so much over here. You know what? Not much left. Go. 886 completions, right? Add yearly lows. You just wouldn't fade some of these at this area. Like insane move, right? Are we surprised it was off a bat? No. It's nice to because all of these we looked at live, right? And then we're seeing it play out like a few months down the line. Is there an M shape on this? I feel like there was. No, there wouldn't have been because of this wick here. But again, I'm confident I would have said the smiley looks good, right? Because that's what it is, just a system. If the lows get revisited, good entry. Otherwise, you don't have to be in it. Like just look for things where you can manage your risk. Just choose a few. You don't have to, spread yourself too thin. Just pull the trigger. And no one really knows where that's a reclaim there. No one really knows where the rotation is going to be, right? We could just manage our risk on things that look good and hope we end up catching the good one. But yeah, majority of these look insane right now for risk to reward opportunities. Majority of these look insane. How is Tandem looking? Let me get rid of the rectangle. Get rid of the long position here. Let me get rid of too much shit going on. Okay, let's do this bit by bit. Okay, yeah, so we have a completed shot. That is that much we've talked. Oh, that's good though. That is nice. One sec. If Tandem can stay above the blue box, I'll be looking for a move to the upside. If it doesn't stay above the blue box, then we can talk about rating the CLO. So there's your shot. That's the 5-0, right? So what are we talking about? Still within play. By no means is it. There's the bat. Bat 0.886, 2.618, still within it. That's your type to return currently. And there is another bat within the bat, right? And this could very well again be a type to return to a high low. All in all, I think Tandem looks good. Like you above that 2.618, you're fine. That's an M shape that hopefully is protected. And we will just try and play this, right? Because we know how much of a move there is waiting to be had on Tandem, right? All these massive M-shaped completions, uh, nice move to be had. So Tandem looks good. Has my seal of approval for anyone trying to take a position. That's just some of the medical stocks. Obviously, I haven't gone through every single medical stock. We've only gone through I forget which ones. You have to go through the private streams folder and check there. But even within that, you guys can see loads of opportunities. So, and of course, there is the one OSTX. This one is now an inside play for me, but as long as we're above this mid for OSTX, easy place to manage risk. That's lost, you would try for these lows again, maybe even range low. But as long as you're above this mid, we'd try for this and then, higher. This one is something my friend got me into. One of the friends I run the company with, our Trifecta company, because it should have some nice catalysts, hopefully, is what we're hoping. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on this one. But yeah, that is the some of the medical stocks, okay? Some that are good. Again, they're all on the record. They're all recorded on stream for you guys. So just go and rewatch the recording. Watch it like 1.5x or something, or 2x. Adobe, yeah. Bunch of thieves, bro. Adobe. Don't want to give them access to their data for me. One star was play dropped in after a few months. AMN, okay, let's take a look at AMN. So these will be the last two I'll look at. So let's look at AMN. Uh, American. I'm guessing that's American Healthcare Services Inc. Okay, yeah, we've definitely looked at this one before. Yeah, we're breaking out of the range highs. Looks good. Would you enter fresh? No. Um, so when we talked about this last, it would have been the 886, right? 3.0. Holding on to the yearlies. I remember this. We talked about it here. Broken above. Now, the only entry you have is if you can flip this high back into support. Otherwise, there is no way you can manage your risk here now. If you can flip those highs back into support, this looks good for higher. But that was a beautiful entry down over there when we originally looked at this one. If you took it, bro. That was a beautiful M-shape. M-shape completions behind every single major move. Like, it's actually insane. AMN, Adobe, and Amber. Oh, yes, Amber. We look at that one too. Yes, ADBE, Adobe. So for Adobe, I should have a chart for this. Is it in this one? Yes, this one. Okay, so um, yeah, for Adobe, I'm still hoping that we get that sort of crab area here, right? And this macro, like insanely huge godly. I might be a greedy bear wishing for that, but this is such a nice area. If we can reclaim 255, then you have a whole big range we can play. But until then, I would really want to hope that we get this at some point on Adobe. Just send it to like, actual key value areas and then we can play it from there. Okay. Uh, nice, brother. On AMN. Okay, AMBA, this will be the last one today. Amber, this one does look good. Amberella. The reason I liked this back then was because of that range flip, right? 11 minus 11%. Oh wait, no, this is the wrong chart anyway. Let's go to this one. AMBA. What the hell? One sec. This is Walker Darkitect for Walker Darkitect. Okay. Uh, Amberella, come here, semis. Semis getting raped. Yeah, but it's still above this range high, right? So if we get like a quick wick down to this area and it holds, I'd still bid it, to be honest. I reckon, bro. Because the thing is, as long as you're above this range. And as long as you're above this range, well, we know we can play it to this range, right? You can take a. It's going to be hard because I think it'll be choppy as hell because we don't have expansion until we get above this zone. But if you're going to take a long, it's going to be like here or there. Because if that's lost, you'll be revisiting 52s again. So as long as this holds, you're fine to try and take a long on Amber. Even if like you'd market long on we'll see what pre-market does on Monday on tomorrow. But it's been green on green on green, right? So if as you can market long on market open, and as long as we don't close below 74.44, like you're fine to just hold that long, play it like that, just in case we don't get a proper retest. Yeah. But okay, so that from today. So just to wrap things up, and I've said it the last couple of streams now, but because people join streams at different times, and some people don't take certain streams, don't watch the recordings. The There will be probably most likely, right? I'm leaning towards just creating a different Discord group um for the Wyckoff, Elliott Waves, and Tick-based charts participants. If not a different Discord group, it'll be like a section within this Discord, but that's gonna make it too messy, I think, which is why I think I'll just create a different Discord group. Um, that's the way, that's the door, right? If everyone's looking for a door for the fund, it is that. So once you've done that, in the future, whenever it might be a bit before we get properly listed, um, whenever we take new rounds of liquidity in, or like, after we get property listed, at whatever point we decide, okay, this now is the right time to get like a big influx of liquidity again. That's not private. It will be people in that group who've done Elliott Waves, Wyckoff, and tick-based charts that get to do it, right? I won't be opening this to the whole of the bunker. I want to make it really exclusive. Um, and this will be the only time that I run this. So I'm not gonna keep talking about it because it can get annoying. So this will be the only time I run this. After this, I won't be running it again. This is the one and only time because I don't plan on taking on many more clients. To like who want it in my system, especially whenever I think the bottom is in, that is it, right? I won't be running any more classes or whatever. After that, it's just full, focus on the fun, just be positioned and just look for, just enjoy from then, right? Do the hard work now so that we can enjoy it in the future. So if anyone is wanting to do this, just reach out. If not, that's fine, right? It's not something you need to do. Many people here can trade for themselves. You don't need to put your money in a fund for me to take care of it. Like, you can just do that yourself. Be your own portfolio manager. Um, and yeah, we'll probably start end of July, like sometime in August, right? Because more people are joining. There's 3 more that's definitely joining. I think Rudy's interested in joining, so that'll be 4. And some people that have already joined are on vacation. I'm on vacation myself as well. So once everyone's back, because I want people to actually be able to do the live sessions, we'll do it then. Because I know some people have already signed off for Elliott Waves in the past, but that's just for Elliott Waves, right? Um, so if you want the Wyckoff, the tick-based charts, or like the full actual package, just reach out and then we can get that sorted. One sec, I'm not seeing. Come here. Uh, wait one sec, I missed that message. Where is that one? Oh, there's no requirements, bro. So basically, oh yeah, because you were away, weren't you? So basically, what I did was, a lot of people were in line to actually, because a lot of people already showed interest in putting money into the fund, that we've opened in Hong Kong, right? But a couple weeks ago now, I think I made the decision to just close doors permanently, right? It's a temporary close, but for the next few years, it's going to be permanent, I think, unless we decide to open up a bit early. Because number one, we already have a lot of liquidity under management through private investors, right? Um, and number two, I didn't want like a shit ton. There's no point aiming for like 8 figures, 9 figures in managed liquidity, um, when we're not even listed. Like I feel like that could be so disastrous if something were to go wrong, or like that would open up a lot of doors for scrutiny in the future. I just don't want that, right? I don't want to be like a big fund, make it look like we're just peddling money before we're even listed. I want to do everything properly. We need to get CFA'd. We need to get a load of appropriate licenses. We need to get lawyered up. There's a lot of things we need to do. Um, Regulated, audited, like there's so much, right? So I'd rather do all of that before opening the doors for you guys, so that everything is through the system rather than just like a Discord group managing serious funds, right? So that's the reason I did it. There is no requirement, but to have access to the fund, basically, you guys have already done core in advance, right? So you know the bulk of how I'm going to be trading, but I will be using principles from Elliott Waves, from Wyckoff, from tick-based charts, right? Um, During trading of the fund, right? And for clients from here, for my clients, I don't want them to not understand why I'm making certain decisions in the future with their money, because obviously I can understand, like once your money's in the hand of someone else, you're gonna get angsty about it, no matter how much you trust me or whatever. You're gonna be looking at it from a scrutinous viewpoint. So to be at that stage where everyone's on board, they understand why I might be holding for a long time, just being cash heavy for a long time, making certain decisions at certain points. I want everyone to be on board on why I'm doing it, right? On a TA side of things. So that's why I'm making it a requirement where you've got Elliott Waves, Wyckoff, and tick-based charts understood, right? As a prerequisite to be able to actually put money in, so that when I do something and it's anything related to any of these principles, you're not confused as to why I'm doing something, and I don't have to be sat there explaining it. Huh? Um, yes, of course, bro. I'll send you the info if you want to sign up. I've given everyone a discount in the group, so it was just like for Core and Advanced. I gave everyone a 5K package deal. I'm giving them a 2K off for anyone that's interested from within the group itself. So it's but yeah, I'll reach out to you and Rudy about that. But yeah, once you guys are in the future when we go open, I don't know what the minimum will be yet. I'll have to sort that out with my friends as well. I'd love for it to be like, guys, you can just put a 3K in and forget about it. But obviously it's not just my fun. Me and my friends are doing this together, and I'm sure they'll be much stricter than I am. So well, I'll let you guys know. But I'll try my best to make it nothing like too huge, right? Because I know we're not institutional investors here, right? It's not going to be like 100K minimum like it is for like more for the more institutional folks that we know that put money in. So, but yeah, this will be the one time I do it. And so if you're interested, just basically, it's not like I'm trying to like make it like scarce or anything. It's just timing wise, right? You guys already know I'm planning to like quote unquote retire from my daily activities after this cycle. I don't want to be sat here taking on a new bunch of noobs, teaching them how to draw fucking buy seller zones when it's like 2028, 2029, 2030, right? I just don't want to do that. Like I've met you lovely people through here. It's been my pleasure to connect with you and teach you guys, but like, it's like I don't want to just keep doing this forever. I don't want to spread my system too thin either, Like a bunch of people know it. I hope a bunch of people like you guys have showed interest, make money. You've got a lifelong skill you can use. But that's it. Like I'm just gonna close doors. So this will be the one time I run this group, and that's it, done. Because I don't see there won't be enough demand, right? There won't be enough demand to have a big enough group to run it in the future. So that this will be it, done. Um, so after that, it'll be doors locked. But that it's no, it's just I wanted that exclusivity, right? So they was just making more exclusive anyway. So yeah, might seem a bit harsh, but that's the reasons why I've decided to do it this way. But yeah, I'll reach out to you, bro. Duke and Rudy. I'll reach out to both of you. Uh, we can get it done. But yeah, that's so anyway, from a stocks perspective and crypto perspective, that's it, right? This is recorded. Don't worry if you join in late. Welcome guys. Some of you joined in a bit later, tail end. No problem, it's recorded. Yeah, that's fire, bro. Get the neat life going. I know one of my one of the one of the guys who I came up with in a few for a few cycles, he's in this server, Alexandru. Um some of you know him, some of you don't, but he's retired now as well, full-time trader. Love to see it, man. I get asked that question a lot as well. Why don't I become a full-time trader? I'm too young. That's my straight off answer. I'm too young to be a full-time trader. I'm fresh 26, right? What the hell am I gonna do just trading? Like I know I've got a lot more to give. I want to see what I can do out there, right? I'm limiting myself if I become a full-time trader right now. I would love to be it, don't get me wrong, but not yet. I've got businesses to build. I've got, like I said, I've got this fund started. Like, we're trying to branch out into properties. I'm not gonna get into all of that if I just limit myself to a full-time trader. Also, being a full-time trader is going to be much more fun once you already have like, things in the background you're working for you. Once I already have a couple of restaurants up and running, once I have businesses up and running in the background that I don't have to actively manage, I don't have to worry about what if I get liquidated, I don't have money to pay, right? You being a full-time trader is limiting yourself to one cash flow. Every other person in business will tell you you want multiple sources of income. Being a full-time trader goes directly against having multiple sources of income, right? So once you've made money through, like once you've made enough money where you're comfortable, then it makes sense. You don't want that stress. You've got like a steady source of income, but you've already done your hard work to get that foundation, right? For me, it's like I'm 26. I've got years in the belt. I've got energy right now, and I'm sure I won't when I have when it's the future, and I want to build a family and stuff. That's when I want to be there for my kids, right? I don't mind being a stay-at-home dad, bro. I don't want my wife to work. I don't want my kids to worry about money. I don't want to be worrying about, oh, can I get paternity leave, right? Like when something goes down. But once I have kids, once I have a family, bro, I want to be in their lives as much as possible. And like for that, it's work hard now, get the bag up, have all that in place, and then after that, it's you know, everything else falls into place in the future. Yeah, bro, that's 69 days is insane. This, yeah, modern lifestyle is just not fit for humanity. No, of course, bro. I don't know. No, no, I know, bro. I know what you're saying, bro. But of course, right? You gotta have fun still. Which is why, I travel a lot. Like, I don't limit myself to anything. Do you know what I mean? If I want to experience, I'll do it. If I want to travel somewhere, I'll do it. Like, for example, I'm in Albania for 10 days. Literally booked the flight like 2 days ago, right? Because I was like, shit, that looks nice. Let's get a flight, go there for 10 days. And if I like it, I'll stay for a bit longer. Um, so, once you and trading enables me to do that because I can do this obviously when I'm on holiday. I can, make some money if I see opportunity while I'm on holiday. Um, and that's something you just can't do with most traditional sources of income, right? But also having those sources of income in place makes this 10 times easier for me to make these sporadic decisions, right? Like I'll be in Asia for good parts of quarter three, quarter four, right? Um, if I was relying solely on trading, I wouldn't have a good time because now, even though I'm on holiday, I have to make sure I'm still, for example, being profitable on holiday. What if the market's dead? What if I go on a loose streak while I'm on holiday? What then? I'm not going to be enjoying my time. Do you know what I mean? But if I have like businesses that's still up and running while I'm abroad, and that's already bringing me like a steady source of revenue, right? Trading just becomes like the icing on top, less emotional because you're good for it. Do you know what I mean? So I think being a full-time trader makes sense after you've done your fair share, right? Do your fair share for, not for society, but for yourself, right? See what you can do, whether it be a business or just like see how high you can advance in your career without absolutely burning out that fucking like, fire in your soul. Once you get to that stage where you're thinking, oh no, fuck this, that's when it's probably a good time to be like, okay, well, that's the reason you've been developing the skill set on the side. That's when you make the transition. Yeah, don't listen to Block, bro. He's not 39. 2 months out of college. Yeah, bro. Yeah, of course, bro. This is the time to like, put the pedal to the metal, right? Just fucking go ham, get your resume out there, get some internships, get that network up. Like most people in their 20s trying to peddle a trader only lifestyle to you, 99% are trying to sell you something, bro. Like, look at me, I've got this rented car that I'm going to pretend is my own. In this rented villa, I'm going to pretend is my own. And I can do this because I trade. And if you learn how I trade, you can do it too. Like, fuck that, bro. No. There is, in your 20s, like, just see what you're made of. You know what I mean? Even in your 30s, like late 30s after then, yeah, if you want to consider being a full-time trader, then like work hard enough where hopefully to the point you made, like, you're in a good position by the time you're trying to cross that 40 threshold, right? From when, especially if you're a man, it's like, I feel like we don't hit our prime. Most people, oh, I hit my prime at my 18. Like, are you mad? Like, it's like, no. I feel like as men, we tend to hit our prime later in life, right? So, you think you're gonna hit your prime being a full-time trader? Like, no. There's a lot that goes into it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, bro. That, right? Yeah. Yeah, and that's fantastic to have that security. And that's something you can like, it's like, when you're older, it's like, let's say you've got like a sibling or, you do have kids in the future. I'm sure you want to teach them skills to succeed, right? It's like I want to teach my kids in the future, and that's obviously I don't even know if I'm gonna have kids yet. I probably will, but it's never something. It's never a given. But let's say most probably I'll have kids, and like when I have kids, like I want to teach them more than just like how to make buy seller zones, right? Or this is a shark, this is a bat. Of course, I'll be teaching that shit to them young, but there's so much more I want to teach to them than this is what ICT called a fucking MMXM or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much more that goes into it. So yeah, but no, from it, I mean, I'm one of those. It might be controversial in this space, but actually, I'm fully against most people. Right? I'm fully against most people being full-time traders because most people that come into trading are young, right? So being a full-time trader makes sense. Like if you've been grafting for years and you genuinely you're sick of the work life and you have the skills to back it up, then yeah, do it because you got to do what's best for you. But I think it's going to be hard pressed to find any 20-year-old that's been sick of life. At that point, I'll just call it being lazy. I'll just put it how it is. If you're 20 and you're like, oh, I hate working and this and that, bro, you've not even got high enough. Like you've taken maybe one step in your career, right? Like fuck that, bro. Like you can say that after you reach like a decent position. Do you know what I mean? Not at the start. So yeah. So no full-time trader for me anytime soon. But once like the once your wealth gets to a point where it's like, yeah, I've got these paid off properties and I've got this land and I've got these businesses dotted around here, um, then it becomes much easier to make that transition. Yeah, bro, for sure, man. For sure. That's a good question. What's the biggest lesson that you guys have learned in X years of living? I think the biggest lesson for me, outside of the like your typical ones, right? Like, time is money and there's nothing more valuable than time. We all know that. I'd say the biggest lesson for myself personally has been if you have experience and you have patience, there's nothing you can't do. I feel like if you have experience, like you experience in something, right? For example, for us, it's trading, but it goes to anything. It could be for business, it could be for like, just life. If you have experience in something and you're patient, I feel like whatever you're into, you're trying to make it work, you will most likely end up making it work. Um, I feel like that's probably one of my biggest lessons because all the people I've looked up to, like they've all been experienced men who've had the patience to see something through to the end, right? Nothing's ever like a smooth road. But that's honestly that's probably been the biggest lesson I've learned. There's so much obviously it's like there's so much shit we could actually say to that, but I'd say that's probably like a less niche one. I feel like that's a good one I've learned. We literally embody it as traders as well. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a mathematical formula right there. What time is it? Oh shit, they've kicked off. All right, guys, listen. I don't actually have I don't have I don't have like any of the sporting channels, so I'm just finding some dodgy ass like links and then just pirating the fucking streams. Oh wait, did Norway score? No, I got a link, bro. Don't worry. Oh, don't tell me I missed a Haaland goal already, bro. One sec. Oh wait, they haven't. Okay, nice. To be honest, I'd be surprised if Brazil lose this. I think Brazil. Yeah, we'll see. Oh wait, no, it's not even. It's not even. They're not even playing it, are they? What am I faffing about? I thought it was a 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock kickoff. It's 9, right? Yeah. Well, no, that's my bad. I thought it was a 6 o'clock kickoff, so I thought I missed it. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine then. If you guys need a link or like if you guys want to watch it live, I can always stream it. But that's if I don't. I might find like a sports bar or somewhere here in Albania to watch it. But if I don't go out and I'm fucking sat in my hotel room on my ones, I might stream it later so you guys can jump in to watch it if you want. Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'll just find like a bar to go to. Maybe there'll be some Brazilians about, some Brazilian fans. But yeah, okay. Anyways, I will end this stream here, guys. Again, Rudy and Duke, I'll reach out to you too about the Wyckoff Elliott waves and tick based charts. Um, if anyone's interested, just DM me. You guys have until the end of July basically, to sign up. After that, it's closed and it is closed forever. I won't be running a second group. So yeah, basically around the end of July, bro. Yeah, last week of July. No problem at all, brother. But I will, if something crazy happens, I'll go live. If market open is bloody tomorrow, I'll go live. Otherwise, no, typically Mondays are boring. You don't really find a good entry on Mondays anyway. Um, but but yeah. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you for jumping in. I'll put this one on YouTube. Yeah, I think. Oh no, I'll be doing it in this server, bro. But I'll be creating the new server after I get the class started. I think. Oh no, I think I'll put this one on YouTube, bro. I've not gone through any, I'm not gone into anything like that would expose the system or anything. I'll put this one on YouTube. It's been pretty dead for a while. I'm sure some of the subscribers are wondering if I'm dead or alive. I'll put this one on YouTube. Let me just think. Did we go over anything crazy? No, we didn't go over anything crazy. It's fine. There's no system leakage. It's fine. Yeah, yeah, that's true, but not enough to be like, not enough to be worried about anything, I'd say. Plus, maybe there's some whale who watches that and reaches out to me. So, because I've not actually talked about my fund on YouTube yet. I don't think most people realize I've opened a hedge fund in Hong Kong. So, I hope some whale watches it and reaches out. But yeah, it's fine. I've ended the recording now.